You guys got to start to work on your first feature film, which was The Secret of Kells. Uh, how did you sort of convince investors that you guys were ready to do feature, and how did you get that going and about?
So the first maybe 5 years of the studio was kind of just trying to pay the bills and stay in business, and we did everything from illustrating, the new syllabus for the schools, and CD-ROMs and e-cards or whatever we could get to pay the bills in the early 2000s. But we also did chunks of feature films for other European studios. So if they were in trouble, we might take like 5 minutes to animate, and in that way we learned a lot about the industry, and we met other people in the industry. And something we did early on was we went to Cartoon Movie, which is like a forum in France. It was in Germany at the time, for European producers to pitch their ideas and meet other partners. And so we pitched our project pretty early on, and Didier Brunner is a French producer who was making the Triplets of Belleville at the time. It's one of the first European features to kind of break through into the Oscars and all. But he was in the middle of producing that, I think, in 2003. And he kind of believed in us. He took us under his wing, and he had a co-production partner in Belgium. And he kind of taught us how it would work, that you raise as much money as you can in each European country, but under the EU co-production treaty, it would all kind of be pooled in a way that, they would do some work in France, we do some work in Ireland, they do some work in Belgium. And we started co-producing that way other people's projects, and then eventually got our own project off the ground with DDA as the French producer. His Because his track record was good already in Europe, and his partner Vivian van Vletteren was a quite experienced producer too, and he produced a movie called Kirikou and the Sorceress, which had been a pretty big hit in France. And so with him involved, we kind of quickly started to secure financiers in France, and that kind of ironically gave Irish financing partners confidence that we were just like a bunch of, because we were like, I think I was 23 at the time, so we were really young. And by the time we got into production, I was 27. So it took a long time, but bit by bit, by working on other projects and by partnering up with more experienced producers like DDA, we kind of franken financed the bits and pieces of finance from here and there. It got going around 2005. Yeah.
Now, in terms of directing Secret of Kells, being your first picture, you co-directed that with Nora.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, by the time we got into production, she had directed shorts, and I still had only directed commercials and a few little experiments and things. So I felt I needed her chops on my side.
okay, yeah. I was curious. I went back and watched From Darkness,
Yeah,
and it seems that I know this is an earlier film, but it seems even just the sensibilities that she has. She's a strong director and storyteller in her
oh
own
yeah,
right.
yeah.
And I'm sort of curious, with the kind of melding of what she brings to the table and you bring to the table. I'm kind of curious, kind of what that looked like working with her.
I think Nora, yeah, she's a very strong filmmaker, and she brought a lot even to the storyboarding. And we worked with the screenwriter for Brice Olkowski to rework the story when she came involved as we were working through the storyboards. Nora was very kind of humble about it, in that it had been my project from very early on, and I'd originally been going to co-direct it with another guy, Aidan Hart, but he, in the meantime, I'd created a series called Skunk Fu. He was busy with Skunk Fu, and Nora was willing to help me, but she was kind of like in that Pixar way, kind of the co-pilot, but she let me have the final say, let's say. But I listened to her, and we talked things out a lot. I would rarely overrule her, but she kind of left that hierarchy in place, that I was a little bit more the final say than her. She took care of a lot of the animation direction, like everything from X sheets to, and the voice direction. She brought a lot to it, because she did all the scratch voices until we recorded the actors, and then she came to the recording of the actors with me. So we did that together. So we did a lot together. And then at a certain point, she took some time out. She had her first child. And then I was kind of on my own for a little while, for about a year, maybe less. And then she came back and was able to rejoin in the final part, where we were like mixing the sound and getting the music and everything, final score and all done. So she was a major part of the whole production. And the only caveat I'd say was that we kind of agreed early on to do that sort of director co-director thing, which for that production was the right thing to do, because I'd been carrying it on my own for quite a while.
you.